She's already made her decision. You just don't know it yet. Most men sit across from a woman who's practically screaming attraction through her hands and walk away thinking she wasn't interested. The signals were there the entire time. You simply weren't taught to read them. This is exactly why that moment slipped through your fingers before. Not anymore. These 8 hand signals reveal the precise moment she's chosen you, and your only job is recognizing them before the window quietly closes forever. By the way, if you really want to understand female psychology and discover the factors that make a woman feel attracted to you, I've created a comprehensive ebook where I explain everything step by step. You can find the link in the video description. She's already told you she's interested. You just completely missed it.
Here's what nobody explains about female attraction. Women rarely announce it through words. Instead, their bodies run an entirely separate communication system, one that operates beneath conscious awareness, transmitting signals that bypass language completely. And the most revealing part of that system lives in her hands. Think about it this way. Your face can manufacture a polite smile. Your voice can fake enthusiasm. But your hands? Your hands betray exactly what's happening beneath the surface every single time. Women instinctively understand this about themselves, which is why their hand movements become the most honest broadcast of their genuine feelings. Research published in the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior found something that should genuinely stop you in your tracks. Women send an average of 5 attraction signals before a man notices even the first one. 5. Meaning, by the time something feels different to you, she's been communicating interest for the past 20 minutes through precise physical cues you walked right past. This isn't about playing games or decoding mysterious behavior. It's about understanding that attraction speaks a physical language long before words ever enter the conversation. And once you understand that language, everything changes. Interactions that previously felt confusing suddenly become crystal clear. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop hesitating at exactly the wrong moments. Because here's the brutal truth. She won't keep sending those signals forever. The clock starts the moment her hands begin speaking. The only question is whether you're finally ready to listen. Her hands are having a conversation her mouth never will. When a woman reaches up and touches her hair near her face, most men clock it as a nervous habit and move on. That's the mistake. Watch what happens after her hand touches her hair. If her fingers slowly trail down toward her neck or collarbone instead of snapping back immediately, that lingering motion is deliberate. She's unconsciously drawing your eyes to one of the most vulnerable parts of her body. That's not fidgeting. That's an invitation wrapped in instinct. Now shift your attention to her fingers when she's holding something. A wine glass, a coffee cup, the edge of a menu. If she's slowly tracing patterns along the surface, her body is managing something it can't directly express yet. Research confirms tactile displacement behaviors spike over 60% around someone a person finds genuinely attractive. She isn't bored. She's barely containing something. Then there are her palms. When a woman sits across from you with her hands open, palms facing upward or toward you during conversation, her body is communicating complete receptivity. Closed hands, hidden hands, tucked hands, those signal distance. Open palms signal trust so deep it bypasses conscious thought entirely. Here's what ties all 3 together. None of these gestures are performed. They emerge automatically because attraction hijacks the body before the mind catches up. She can control her words. She cannot control her hands. That's precisely why they tell you everything worth knowing. The moment her hand lands on your arm, the conversation has already changed. Most men just don't realize it yet. Women don't casually touch people they feel nothing for. That's not how their psychology works. Every deliberate point of physical contact carries weight behind it. A quiet decision she made before her hand even moved. When she places her fingers on your forearm while laughing, she isn't being animated. She's testing you, checking whether you're confident enough to recognize what she's communicating without her having to spell it out. That single touch is her opening move. And here's what makes it even more significant. She's watching your reaction more carefully than you're watching her. Do you hold steady? Do you lean in naturally? Or do you tense up and pull away? Your response tells her everything about whether escalation is safe or whether she should emotionally retreat. Then comes the finger grace, that moment where her fingers brush yours while passing something, comparing hand sizes, or that playful palm reading excuse she created entirely on purpose. That's not accidental contact. That's her building a bridge between her world and yours, waiting to see if you'll cross it. Most men pull back right there. The connection breaks. The moment dissolves. But when you stay present, calm, unhurried, letting that contact breathe for even 2 extra seconds, she feels something shift. She recognizes a man who isn't rattled by intimacy. And that recognition,
That's when attraction transforms into something she genuinely acts on. If you find this topic interesting, you should know that in my ebook, I explain the 10 most important factors of female psychology that make a woman become more interested in a man. If you want to learn them all, you can find the ebook at the link in the description. The most dangerous moment in any interaction isn't when she pulls away. It's when she exposes what she's been protecting. The inner wrist is paper-thin skin over visible veins, one of the most vulnerable points on the human body. When a woman rests her arms on the table with her wrist turned upward toward you, or adjusts her bracelet and lets that wrist linger deliberately in your line of sight, she isn't fidgeting. She's doing something her nervous system only permits around people she genuinely trusts. You cannot fake this signal. It emerges from a place too deep and instinctual for conscious performance. Evolutionary biology explains it simply. Exposing a vulnerable body part to another person is the body's oldest declaration of safety. She's communicating without a single word that her guard is completely down around you. Then comes the mirror. You touch her forearm lightly while making a point. Moments later, her hand finds your forearm in exactly the same way. You brush her shoulder walking side by side, and instead of creating distance, she leans fractionally closer. That mirroring isn't coincidence or politeness, it's participation. Her body is actively joining what you started. Most men never notice this because they're too busy wondering whether to make a move rather than reading whether the move has already been invited. When she mirrors your touch, the question is answered. She isn't waiting for you to decide if she's interested. She's waiting for you to stop hesitating and recognize that she already is. Every woman has an internal clock running the moment she decides she's attracted to you. And most men have absolutely no idea it exists. She doesn't send signals forever. She sends them once, maybe twice, sometimes 3 times if she's genuinely patient. But the moment she senses you're either not noticing or not willing to act, something shifts inside her. Not dramatically, not with tears or confrontation. She simply closes, quietly, completely. That hair touch that kept happening 20 minutes ago? Gone. The fingers grazing the wine glass, drawing invisible patterns while her eyes stayed locked on yours? Still. The hand that brushed your forearm during that story she laughed at? Back in her lap where it'll stay for the rest of the night. And here's what makes this genuinely painful. She doesn't even consciously decide to withdraw. Her body just stops offering what her instincts told her you weren't ready to receive. This isn't cruelty, it's self-protection. A woman who puts herself out there through these signals is taking a real emotional risk. Every gesture is a quiet bet that you're paying attention, that you're present enough to recognize what she's communicating without her having to say a single word. When that bet goes unrewarded long enough, she doesn't double down, she folds. The man sitting across from her will never get a second version of that openness. That specific warmth, that particular window, it belonged to one moment. And that moment doesn't come back. She never needed you to be perfect. She needed you to be present. Every signal covered in this video was her way of crossing the distance between 2 people without using a single word. The hair touch, the open palms, the sustained hand placement, none of it was accidental. All of it was intentional. All of it was for you. The men who understand this don't just get the girl. They build connections that actually mean something because they learn to listen with their eyes instead of waiting for permission that was never coming. Now you know. The only question is whether you'll act on it. Drop a comment below telling me exactly what you want decoded next. Relationships, body language, or something else entirely. I'll build it specifically for you. If you want to learn all the secrets of female psychology and truly understand what makes a woman feel attracted to you, you can get my complete ebook at the link in the description. There, I explain everything with clear and practical examples.